It's time now for a look at the day's business news with Brian Quinn. Good morning, Brian.
Hello, Donna.
You're starting with a major development in the ongoing trade negotiations between the U.S. and China as Donald Trump agrees to put off raising tariffs on Chinese imports.
That's right. Chinese negotiators are now on their way home after spending 2 extra days in Washington for those high-level trade talks. The U.S. president now says he will extend a 90-day tariff truce previously set to expire on Friday. That deadline would have seen U.S. duties on some $200 billion worth of Chinese goods rise from 10% up to 25%. Well, despite the seemingly good news, some trade hardliners in Washington are skeptical. Tatiana Nassar explains.
The clearest sign yet of a breakthrough in the trade war between the world's 2 largest economies. After meeting with China's vice premier on Sunday, President Trump announced they're closer to resolving the dispute, putting off raising the punitive tariff rate on over $200 billion worth of Chinese imports from 10% to 25%.
It's really been terrific. I tell you, that whole relationship has been outstanding. We put ourselves into a position of strength for the first time in about 35 years, or probably a lot more than that. But China has been terrific. We want to make a deal that's great for both countries, and that's really what we're going to be doing.
The U.S. president said that progress had been made on the issues of intellectual property, tech transfers, agriculture, services, currency, and more. But specific details on the progress remain unclear, prompting skepticism from China hawks in Washington who are unsure whether Trump will secure sufficient concessions from Beijing with concrete actions. Their concern is that Trump will rush to resolve the trade war as he faces a re-election bid in 2020. And despite the seemingly positive progress, the U.S. have yet to finalize an enforcement mechanism aimed at ensuring Chinese reform commitments are followed through post-trade war.
Well, Asian stock indexes responding positively to that trade progress. Mainland Chinese markets especially surged in Monday trade, the Shanghai Composite gaining over 5.5%. Chinese network hardware maker ZTE gained over 8% in Hong Kong, with the Hang Seng Index finishing up around 0.5%. Similar results for Tokyo's Nikkei Index at the end of trading there. The Kospi in Seoul eking out some minor gains by the close. European shares also riding that tide of optimism at the open here. London's FTSE 100 starting the day up around 0.4% as UK officials drop hints that Brexit's March 29th deadline could end up delayed. CAC 40 here in Paris and the Frankfurt DAX not too far behind. Well, next, the world's largest mobile communications trade conference opens to the public Monday. The annual Mobile World Congress in Barcelona staged industry and media events over the weekend with a focus on both foldable smartphones and new 5G technology. Well, along with those themes, another one seems to be tagging along, and that is eye-popping prices after Samsung's announcement last week that it will soon unveil its Galaxy Fold starting at €2,000. Sunday, it was Huawei's turn to introduce the Mate X. That's a folding 5G offering that will start at €2,300. Huawei Consumer CEO Richard Yu acknowledged that's a lot to pay. He pointed to network speed as one justification.
How fast? You know, the 5G, we download the 1 gigabyte movie in just 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, then it's immediately downloaded. It's really...
Billionaire investor Warren Buffett has released his annual letter to the shareholders of his firm Berkshire Hathaway. The 88-year-old Oracle of Omaha has yet to name a successor to run the $173 billion holding company that has majority stakes in dozens of major firms. Berkshire lost over $25 billion in the most recent quarter, that driven in part by a major write-down at Kraft Heinz, which is struggling under an SEC investigation and waning demand. Berkshire still managed to pull off over $5 billion in quarterly operating profit. That is, however, its lowest since 2001. And finally, for business, lovers of hazelnut tartines may have been holding their breath since last Tuesday. That's when the world's largest Nutella factory in Normandy suspended production over a quality defect in a key ingredient. Well, those lovers can now breathe easy. After several days of testing, the factory resumes operations today with no health risks having been found. factory near Rouen produces 600,000 jars of Nutella every day. That's 1/4 of the world's supply. Parent company Ferrero has assured customers that there will be no interruption in Nutella's supply. So you can put away the crowbars and the brass knuckles, Delano. No riots this time, please.
I don't know riots. It wouldn't harm me because I don't eat Nutella, and I don't think you do. Do you?
There was a time.
There was a time, no longer, but now you're vegan.
I had to give it up.
You had to give it up.
Yeah.
It's benefits of turning vegan.
I was eating 600,000 jars a day.
Thank you very much for that. Brian Quinn there with a look at the day's business.